Ma'am, who is a senior consultant endocrinologist and also diabetologist at Sekuri Diabetes Center in Perth. And ma'am would be discussing regarding timely insulin initiation and why it is important. Yes, ma'am, over to you, ma'am.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you for your kind introduction, Dr. Praveen. Good evening, all. Today I am going to discuss timely insulin initiation. Why is it important? This is my financial disclosure, and today's agenda is our first one is burden of diabetes in India, and second one is taking cues from pathophysiology of type 2 diabetes, and third one is rationale for timely insulin initiation. So coming to the burden of diabetes in India, 77 million adults had diabetes as of 2019. It increases to 134.2 million adults would have diabetes by 2045. That is, from 2019 to 2045, there is 74.28% increase in the incidence of diabetes. That is, 1 out of 12 adults in India has diabetes, and many people do not know that they have diabetes. 4.39 crore people with T2DM do not know they have it, and 10 people with diabetes do not achieve desired treatment outcomes. 1.01 million deaths are caused by diabetes annually. Next slide, please. So, South Indians prone to type 2 diabetes. Why? There are two causes. One is evolutionary determined and second one is response to the lifestyle. Evolutionary determined causes are: one is poor beta cell function leads to impaired insulin secretion and there is increased type 2 diabetes susceptibility. And second one is low lean mass leads to impaired insulin action and thereby increased type 2 diabetes susceptibility. And the other factor is response to lifestyle. There is change of lifestyle from olden era to new era because sedentary lifestyle is increasing. This leads to ectopic fat deposition in liver and muscle and leads to impaired insulin action and thereby increased type 2 diabetes susceptibility. So current glycemic status in India, as per India Diabetes Care Index, May 2020, the fasting plasma glucose is 172.1 milligrams plus or minus plus 67.8, and postprandial glucose is 254.3 milligrams plus 93 milligrams, and HbA1c varies from 8.51 plus 1.8. So totally most of the patients are uncontrolled. So second one is second part of our agenda is taking cues from pathophysiology of type 2 diabetes. Coming to the development of diabetes, type 2 DM, which is progressive, the normal regulation of glucose metabolism is determined by a feedback loop involving the islet beta cell and insulin sensitive issues. So, the beta cells increase insulin output to maintain normal glucose tolerance, which leads to decline in insulin secretion and thereby insulin resistance is increased and results in progressive beta cell failure, which is both are vice versa. This leads to increased postprandial plasma glucose levels begins to rise and thereby fasting plasma glucose levels rise, results in over diabetes. So progressive beta cell failure determines the rate of disease progression. So type 2 diabetes mellitus is a progressive disease with beta cell function decrease over time. By the time diabetes is diagnosed, patients could have lost 50% of their beta cell function. Every year, there is 4% death of beta cells after the diagnosis of diabetes. So, this slide shows the x-axis shows the years that 10 years before the onset of diagnosis of the diabetes and 14 years after the diagnosis of diabetes T2DM, and y-axis shows the beta cell function. From the pathogenesis and the disease starts from the 10 years before the onset of diabetes, where the beta cell function slowly declining. So first is impaired glucose tolerance, followed by the increased fasting postprandial blood glucose. Later on, it leads to over diabetes, and at this stage, sometime the oral anti-diabetic drugs work. After that, it requires insulin to maintain the glycemia. So, after 2 to 3 years, after maximum 5 years, most of the patients require insulin to maintain the glycemic levels. Then titrate the insulin to maintain the glycemia. After 8 years, the intensification of the insulin is required, where the beta cell function almost becomes zero. Next slide, please. So, coming to the natural history of type 2 diabetes progression. So, years of diagnosis from diagnosis minus 10 years, before 10 years of diagnosis of diabetes, and after that 5 years, 10 years and 15 years. And orange line shows the insulin resistance, and blue one is insulin secretion. So, insulin resistance is from the before 10 years to the diagnosis of the diabetes, it is slowly increasing. After diagnosis of diabetes up to 15 years also, the insulin resistance is constantly increasing, but the insulin secretion is decreasing after diagnosis of the diabetes, and slowly it reaches the nil, almost negligible insulin secretion, that is declining islet beta cell function, while insulin insensitivity is unchanged. But the microvascular complications and the macrovascular complications are already started before the diagnosis of the diabetes, that is in the pre-diabetes stage. So we should be careful before the diagnosis of the diabetes. We should monitor the blood sugar levels in the pre-diabetes, and we can change the scenario at the stage. We should advise the lifestyle modification and cessation of smoking if applicable, reduction of weight, and cessation of alcohol if any. This would modify the progression of the diabetes to over diabetes, and thereby prevent the occurrence of the complications. Next slide, please. Coming to the insulin physiology, the secretory defect in type 2 diabetes mellitus. The first slide shows that the normal first phase of insulin response to after food intake, and the second phase insulin response. This is the first one is normal. And coming to the second diagram, that is in type 2 diabetes, the first phase of the insulin response was almost blunted, or it is absent, and second phase is almost blunted. So these insulin secretory defects in type 2 diabetes mellitus can be mitigated with exogenous insulin therapy. Next slide, please. Coming to the last part of our agenda, rationale for timely insulin initiation. So insulin initiation is often delayed in type 2 diabetes mellitus despite high HbA1c. These are the various trials, that is Initiate trial, Euromix trial, Improve trial, and Initiate Plus 1707. All these trials, the duration of diabetes varies from 7.7 years to 9.5 years, and the baseline HbA1c varies from 6.5 to 9.9, and all these trials shows the initiation of the insulin was very much delayed up to 9.5, 9.7, 9.2, 9.3, 9.9. So this results in the occurrence of microvascular and macrovascular complications. Delayed insulin initiation results in the complications and uncontrolled diabetes. Next slide, please. HbA1c more than 7 is linked to increasing complications. So HbA1c, this slide shows the HbA1c varying from 6 to 12 and relative risk. So up to 7, the risk is almost negligible. After 7, after 7 of the glycosylated hemoglobin, the relative risk of macrovascular complications like retinopathy, nephropathy or diabetic kidney disease, neuropathy and microalbuminuria are increasing as the HbA1c is increasing. So HbA1c level is associated with the microvascular long-term diabetes complications. Next slide, please. So unlike insulin, addition of subsequent oral anti-diabetic drugs does not offer benefit. So this slide shows the blue color is pre-treatment with oral anti-diabetic drugs and grey color shows post-treatment. So first one shows with the treatment with 2 oral antidiabetic drugs, there is reduction of 1% of mean HbA1c. And second, with 3 oral antidiabetic drugs, there is reduction of 0.5% of HbA1c. Later on, with the addition of another oral antidiabetic drugs, that is 4 oral OADs, there is increase in the HbA1c by 0.2%, and so this shows that more than 3 OADs, the insulin resistance and insulin secretion are reduced. So this results in the initiation of this is the right time to initiate the insulin. So with insulin initiation, there is a rapid decrease in the HbA1c by 1.3%. So use of multiple OADs driven by convenience, acceptance by patients and limited consultation time. So successive OADs provide lessening effect, substantial benefit from initiating insulin. Mean HbA1c decrease 1.34% and longer complication-free survival. Next slide, please. So the insulin offers maximum HbA1c reductions. So see this slide with GLP-1 receptor agonist, DPP-4 inhibitors and alpha glucosidase inhibitors, thiazolidine, sulfonylureas, glinides and metformin, and basal insulins, prandial and basal bolus. Out of all, biphasic insulin shows maximum HbA1c reduction, that is 1.1 achievable HbA1c reduction with biphasic insulin. So coming to this left hand side slide, with initiation of the insulin, there is reduction of 1.3% of HbA1c with the treatment of insulin. So T2DM, as a beta cell function declines, addition of more than 3 OADs does not work. It requires insulin to attain the normal glycemic levels. So what are the standard guidelines recommend about the timing of insulin initiation in type 2 diabetes management? So RSTI ESI clinical practice recommendations for the management of type 2 diabetes mellitus. Insulin therapy should be considered in all patients failing to achieve glycemic targets on 3 oral agents. So providers should avoid using insulin as a threat or describing it as a sign of personal failure or punishment, or should work from to alleviate patient anxiety about hypoglycemia, dependence, injection site, pain, etc., commonly attributed to the insulin. So, say brief counseling is required before initiating insulin to avoid all these myths and regarding the insulin. And counseling is required to initiate the insulin. So, considering the Indian reality of high carbohydrate diet and high postprandial glucose levels, premix insulin or insulin co-formulation may be the right choice for insulin initiation in most cases. Prescription of the premix insulin 69% in Indian patients is predominant. Next slide please. So coming to the ADA criteria for initiating insulin therapy in type 2 diabetes mellitus patients, insulin therapy can be initiated in patients with newly diagnosed type 2 diabetes who are symptomatic and or have HbA1c more than 10% and or blood glucose levels more than 300 milligrams per deciliter. This is recommendation level E. And coming to the patients with type 2 diabetes not achieving glycemic goals, recommendation B. Next slide. Why is timely insulin initiation particularly important in Indians? So blue color denotes the Pima Indians and orange is Asian Indians. So x-axis shows the various glycemic levels, that is normal glycemia, impaired fasting glucose, impaired glucose tolerance, and both impaired fasting glucose and impaired glucose tolerance and diabetes, and y-axis shows the fasting insulin secretion. So with all status all stages of the glycemia, the Pima Indians have more insulin, fasting insulin compared to the Asian Indians. That is, even with normal glycemia, Asian Indians had lower mean fasting insulin secretion as compared to Pima Indians. And coming to the next slide, this following 75 grams of oral glucose tolerance test, Asian Indians exhibited a significantly lower 30-minute insulin levels in case of the Asian Indians compared to the Pima Indians. This indicates the heterogeneous pathways in the history of the type 2 DM. That is, heterogeneous pathways of type 2 DM in the early natural history of the disease. Emphasis of insulin resistance in Pima Indians, whereas it is insulin secretion deficiency decreased in Asian Indians. So Asian Indians had 3 times less insulin secretion compared to the Pima Indians. Next slide. So timely insulin initiation is logical. This overcomes the glucotoxicity and benefit of the beta cell rest. So green color shows the continuous subcutaneous insulin infusion in the remission group, and MDI is multiple drug injections, and OHA in remission group, blue color, and grey color is non-remission group. This before the therapy and after the therapy and after first year, more than 50% of the participants remained in the remission at the end of 1 year with insulin, clearly seen in this slide. Next slide please. So coming to the mechanism of the insulin. So mechanism of the insulin and their benefits. Pleiotropic benefits of the insulin. Apart from the glucose lowering and vasodilatation and platelet inhibition and beta cell rest and improvement in the function, anti-thrombotic, antioxidant effect and anti-inflammatory effect, and cardioprotective, neuroprotective and anti-apoptotic effect is seen with the insulin. Next slide please. So timely insulin positively alters the course of disease progression. So this is a cumulative incidence of progression of complications with intensive treatment with insulin One is straight line is conventional therapy and dotted line represents the intensive therapy. So the complications are less with intensive therapy compared with the conventional therapy. And coming to the HbA1c, with conventional therapy and up to 5 years, so conventional therapy, the HbA1c is maintained. After that, it is slightly increasing. With intensive therapy, there is decrease in the HbA1c in the initial phase, and later on it is increasing in the follow-up years up to 10 years. Next slide, please. Good glycemic control matters. That is 20 and 30-year follow-up results. This is UKPDS original results, intensive versus conventional treatment. From 1977 to 1991, this randomization for 20 years and up to 1997, 20 years, there is 12% reduction in the any diabetes related endpoint and 25% decrease in the microvascular disease and 16% decrease in the incidence of the myocardial infarction. And coming to the 10-year post-trial follow-up non-interventional up to 2007, that is 30 years, after 30 years, there is 9% decrease in the any diabetes related endpoint and 24% decrease in the microvascular disease and 15% decrease in the myocardial infarction. In type 2 diabetes, improvements in glycemic control reduce the risk of complications. Next slide, please. So, better HbA1c control is associated with reduction in long-term health complications. Every 1% drop in glycosylated hemoglobin can reduce long-term diabetes complications. That is 43% reduction in the lower extremity amputation or fatal, and 37% reduction in the microvascular disease, that is either diabetic kidney disease or retinopathy, and 19% reduction in the cataract extraction, and 16% reduction in the heart failure, and 14% reduction in the myocardial infarction, and 12% reduction in the occurrence of the stroke. UKPDS, a prospective observational study in 23 hospital-based clinics in England, Scotland, and Northern Ireland. In number of subjects are 4,585 patients, 3,642 included in the analysis of relative risk. Next slide, please. Coming to the summary. Type 2 diabetes mellitus is characterized by the early progressive insulin deficiency. No oral therapy alters the decline in beta cell function. Poor glycemic control is an important driver for diabetes complications. Early insulination is the key, may provide long-term health benefits for type 2 diabetes patients. Thank you.